Sean Wright, independent journalist reporting for InfoWars.com. I would like to talk about the militarization of the police. It sucks when you go out and you try to use your First Amendment or any of your rights and you're head-butted by the police department, which are out there to protect and serve, not to wrangle up and arrest and harass. Lately in the news, the Occupy movement here in Minnesota was using their rights to move down the streets freely, when the police intervened, stepped in, and decided to arrest and detain any individuals that were with the Occupy movement. So I want to go out and I want to see what happened to these individuals that were detained and arrested. Sean Wright here with InfoWars, out here reporting live in Minneapolis, and right now we're here with
Ben Eagerman from Occupy Minneapolis. Last Saturday, we tried to have our Reoccupy event. We intended to peacefully occupy two parks in the area and set up encampments at Loring Park and PV Plaza.
At that time, people decided to kind of march down the street, which is pretty typical for Minneapolis. Anyone who's lived here knows there's tons of people in the street marching probably every week.
Police say a dozen protesters were arrested after they marched in the streets, creating a public nuisance and impeding traffic.
No justice, no peace.
We wound up getting ambushed by just, again, a massive number of police officers. They had the mounted police sort of galloping their horses directly into a crowd. They were pulling people off of sidewalks so that they could arrest them in the street.
From all sides, they just started snagging and arresting people at random. We did not initiate any conflict, any violence with the police. They initiated the first contact.
One of my friends got thrown face first onto the pavement.
Mounted officers were charging into the crowd, gang tangled up within the tents, and people being drug off of their bicycles.
They grabbed me, handcuffed me really kind of brutally, so my wrists are a bit...
See that a little?
It seemed totally indiscriminate how they were arresting people.
A pattern within the city of police brutality that goes completely unaccounted for.
It was awful, and it's the worst incident that I have ever been a part of since being with Occupy.
I didn't do anything! I didn't do anything!
On what grounds do you know that they were arresting people for?
They dusted off an old statute from 1971.
Police tell us they gave protesters plenty of warning before they made the arrests.
It's a standard warning that we give when we ask for people to disperse.
The Minneapolis Police Department is asking for your cooperation in moving the obstructions that have been placed on the plaza and the public right-of-way. If you fail to remove the obstructions on the plaza, the Minneapolis Police Department will take enforcement action. I want to thank you in advance for your cooperation.
You know, they come up with these laws and just bring them up there, and they're like, oh, look at this new regulation. We're going to use this now.
Some old law from 1970 that they dug up to give them the excuse to remove us.
Even though the owners of PV Plaza are completely on our side, completely support us, and were saying that they were going to challenge whatever the police were saying.
Do you think that the militarization of our police is getting a little out of line and becoming more of a police state?
Definitely. Very much so.
Absolutely. In fact, I read an article in the Business Journal that said every single police officer in the city will be on duty on May 1st. They are very scared of this movement because they know that we are hitting a chord with the public.
We've seen it in New York, we've seen it in Oakland, we've seen it in LA, we've seen it in Detroit, we've seen it in Denver. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. I mean, what does that say to the rest of the world? We're supposed to have freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, and with a malicious, police state, that's something that we can no longer, claim as Americans.
So would it be safe to say that your biggest fear is the loss of civil liberties?
That's correct, yeah, simply put.
So basically we need to stand by our Constitution and get back to our forefathers' ideas?
That's right.
So you felt that your Fourth Amendment rights were violated?
Yes, I do, including my First Amendment rights. I was more than 3 feet away from the curb, which is technically the free speech zone, whatever the hell a free speech zone is.
I think that's America. The United States is supposed to be a free speech zone.
Exactly.
Move up onto the sidewalk, stay on the sidewalk.
Why do we have to be only protesting or expressing our constitutional rights in a free speech zone?
This is their attempt to say that no type of political protest is going to be tolerated and that we will show up in massive numbers to crush you if you do show up. They're trying to scare us. They're trying to silence us.
And so we're fighting here not only to demand that we can occupy in peace, we can have a peaceful protest without being harassed and brutalized by the police, but also that there is some sort of accountability that is set up so that the police are not allowed to simply go around arresting people at will without reason, brutalizing people, assaulting people. It's not right.
I think we need to demand a public hearing so that he can tell us why what happened on Saturday was okay.
I'm not putting you off.
Yes, you are.
I'm not putting you off.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to ask you guys again to leave the mayor's office.
We've been here before.
Meet with us.
Meet with us.
You can schedule it if you want. That is all you need to do to get us to leave.
And originally they were also saying that they did not want to schedule a meeting. We said you knew that this was going to happen. You knew that we were coming with this demand. If you choose not to do this, it is not because you have not had the time. It is because you do not want to.
If all this happened, what is the media story? Do you feel that you're getting much real news from the mainstream media?
Of course not.
And even KTSP, which had a $50,000 camera that was either broken or damaged, they have portrayed this as in a neutral light, but I feel like there needs to be more opposition from their side.
Over the phone, Minneapolis Police Chief Tim Dolan issued a statement saying the incident with our photographer is under investigation and, quote, Minneapolis police will not support unjustified uses of force. Now, unlike some of the protesters, our photographer was not arrested. Police say pitching tents and camping is illegal in the city, and they were enforcing a law they have used in the past.
For them not to take a stand when their people got pushed around and brutalized by the police, I don't understand that.
Did he waste the lens?
This is a public freaking property.
The public deserve to know the truth, and right now the media is not covering it accurately.
Why should people give a shit?
Why should people give a shit? Well, because this is our country. This is our home. And we have rights given to us by the Constitution. I think that the 1% just wants us to feel that these are privileges that they give us rather than our essentially God-given rights.
It's not necessarily the police that are our enemies here. It is the people that are controlling them. It is the people behind the scenes that are making them do these outrageous things to us on a daily basis. So I think, yes, this is definitely an extension of the police state, and the way that things are going, it's only going to get worse. So we need to take a stand.
Why does any of this matter? It might seem so out of place that the Occupy people are being arrested and beaten. But what about when it's you and I? If you're not with the Occupy movement, this affects you. If you're with the End the War movement and the Fed movement, if you just want smaller government, if you're Tea Party, no matter what you want to stand up for, this affects you. So it's something I completely encourage. Peaceful demonstrations. Go out and let them know you're here. Make sure that our city officials, county officials, state officials, federal officials all know that they have accountability and that they cannot get away with anything they want. They swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, and we're going to hold them to it. If we don't fight for freedom, it will be lost, because it's not something that can be taken. It's only something we can give away. I'm Sean Wright, reminding you, get informed, get active, fight for freedom, fight for liberty.
I stand strong that my First Amendment right is my most sacred right, and I'll practice it in any way I choose. Congress shall make no law!
Congress shall make no law!
Respecting an establishment!
Respecting an establishment!
Or binding the freedom of speech!
Or binding the freedom of speech!